Travis Wayne Goodsell. Because of doing a series, or at least a two-parter, don't know yet, of this video, I have to redo an intro, whereas the previous intro will be cut and pasted into part 2. But in the first one I went over the LDS Temple Endowment, about Lucifer's quote, being the cause of being ashamed of naked bodies. And so since the first video here is not about any of that, understand that it will be for the next one. Okay? And so this is about a woman who had published on Newsweek. That's the article I'm reading over, who tells her journey to become a nude model. I can't really say porn star, I guess. I don't know. It's porn in the sense that she's going nude, but not porn in the sense of she's working for a professional company and having sex with multiple guys doing different scenes, like a movie. And so, but yeah, the importance is in what she says about growing up in the church, or growing up among Mormons of the church. Spoiler alert. and why she joins the church. There's some important details here. And so the second one is going to be now going over the temple doctrine with how she then interprets it. So this is how she interpreted Mormonism and the background story that leads into it. And so there's some important information and details that are necessary for this. So I hope I am able to bridge the documents together, the small plates into the large plates with the words of Mormon. And so there is that knowledge of sex, education, ignorance in Mormonism. And I can see that with this Mormon mom of 4. Holly Jane is her stage name. She says, I was an only child growing up. So right away we see that she's in a wicked household of Mormon parents. No. Maybe I should just pay attention here. She's not Mormon. She converts with her family, I guess. But Mormon households, they have to have babies. You can't have the worldly 1 to 3 children. Nope. Gotta breed them and breed them young. Right, women? And so she said she was a bit lonely because she was an only child. A neighboring family that we were very close with were Mormons, members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, LDS. That's the appropriate transition, Nelson. And I had another friend at school who was also Mormon. Through them, I was introduced to the Mormon Church, and I started attending. Yeah, that's kind of evil for the church to ask children to bring their peers to church, because that puts pressure on the parents to sucker them in. And again, when you join the church, it's all about paying the church money. It's a financial scam. It's criminal. I wasn't baptized in the Mormon Church until I was an adult. But in my mind, I've been a member since I was a kid. No, dear. At the time, it wasn't really about faith or religion. It was just about wanting something to do and wanting to belong. See, this is a trap that missionaries, in order to get numbers, fall into. They convert people to be a part of a club, a social club, rather than for religious purposes. And then you have to pay. Church is not a social club. If it's a social club, we don't need the church. You just do it on your own, get a group of your neighbors together and talk about whatever. You can make it a book club, do the Bible, whatever, talk about Jesus, how great he is, even though he's never existed and never demonstrated physically in your life. That's up to you. She says, I like this group that was very organized. Yeah. They stalk you. They've got personal, financial, and other personal information on you. And close-knit, and had Bible study class where I could make friends. Bible study. Not talking about the Book of Mormon. Oh, there it is. I remember services as being 3 hours long, because Nelson changed it when she did the article, with a traditional service and then 2 classes. But I didn't pay a lot of attention. Yeah. Religion really isn't for children. And it's because the concept of Jesus not being physically in their lives is a big part of that. Of course, knew about the Book of Mormon and that Joseph Smith founded the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. She'd been lied to. Joseph Smith founded the Church of Christ. The name was changed in 1834 by a unanimous vote of the leadership of the Melchizedek Quorums. 1834 to the Church of Latter-day Saints. So when you go to the Joseph Smith history, you see, well, it's in 1838 it was changed to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And section 115 proves that. No. Both of those were in 1838. Section 115 was first. Then the Joseph Smith history. And wouldn't you know it, the Joseph Smith Papers exposes that Willard Richards added in Jesus Christ after Joseph Smith died. You can see the original document. And so what is Joseph Smith talking about in that historical visionary account? Evil disposed persons about the church? I wonder what that could be. Verse 19. I understood the basics. She memorized the basics and believed in the core of the religion. Really? What is the core? You mean the keystone? What is the keystone? Because it's not the Book of Mormon and the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. inverted pentagram of Lucifer. So again, you can see how she was indoctrinated when she wasn't even a Mormon. But I just wanted to socialize. Everyone was so welcoming. If you're a member, your family. See, that's the extortion threat. Emotional blackmail. You have to be an active member to be treated like family. And she doesn't realize it. That's what I love about the Mormon Church. No, dear, when times are tough, you know who your friends are because they're at your side. So I know who my friends are, right? All by myself. Should it be the theme song in the description below? I think so. All by myself. After graduating high school, I didn't attend for a while. She's still not Mormon. I actually met someone in high school. Got married, a bit too young. No, that's an opinion statement. You can marry young if conditions are met to prepare you for marriage. What she's actually saying by saying that she was too young to get married is that she wasn't properly trained and prepared for marriage. Whether that's her fault, or whether that's her parents' fault, or whether that's the public school system's fault, or the government, or the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, we don't know. She's not telling us. But we can see that she's easily susceptible to abusive behavior. Indoctrination is abusive behavior. Lying is abusive behavior. And the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints were involved in that. She doesn't understand that the church was abusing her, emotionally manipulating her. And had my son at 19. Mary was 14. But that was the custom of the time. And so, yeah, even though there was no Mary, Mary means love in Egyptian, and therefore, behold my son of Mary, in whom I am well pleased. It's symbolic coding. But that's another video topic that you have to be watching my channel to know about. We separated, and I rekindled a relationship with and married my husband Steve in my early 20s, and we had 3 children together. Okay, so she was married twice, and justifies the first marriage falling apart. And it doesn't say she got divorced. She says we separated, and I rekindled a relationship with. So she's an adulteress. So this is Velo. Velo connected with Chad Daybell because of his books on the afterlife near-death experience that he had. And the church dismissed his books. And so he's now saying, no, I had this experience. I feel it with every fiber of my spiritual witness being. The church is wrong. And so he's now going contrary to the church, which is abusive, with their indoctrination and their emotional manipulation. And here, the church actually came out with a statement against such books and people who write the books by name-calling them, that they are going against the church. And so Lori, emotionally bonding with Chad, sets up meetings with his tour of his book, and they connect, and they have an affair. And then to cover up the affair, they followed the precept taught by King David with Bathsheba and decided to murder their spouses to cover it up. And then the murdering of the children, because they now believe that they had super secret sacred knowledge about the second coming of Jesus, and that they needed to prepare for it. And the children had to go because they're zombies of the zombie apocalypse. And so, yeah, she's now locked in prison for the rest of her life because she misinterpreted religion. They were normal, everyday Mormons who were, like Holly, stage name, got lied to with the indoctrination. And their interpretation of that indoctrination and lies led them on a course that separated them from the church when the church attacked them. So, yeah, major problems in the church. So it looks like it's the first of the month. There are likely things I'll need to do. So, you're not listening anyway, are you? Despite my attempt to try to get your attention with a Mormon mom who did porn. Oh, he's just talking. This is boring. I want pictures. Because we have to pay on her website. Rejoining the Mormon Church at age of 30. This is deceptive because she told us she believed she was Mormon simply because she was attending in a social capacity with her peers. And so she says, I began working for a college in the admissions department in the Pacific Northwest, where I live. And there was a woman there I was drawn to, chatting with. She was older than me, and one day I was asking her why she wasn't married. She told me a story about how her husband had gone in for routine surgery and died unexpectedly, and it had been a long, drawn-out ordeal for her. I kept thinking about her, and then my own life. I was 30 then, and had my husband and kids, but I didn't have any friends outside work because I was so focused on my family. So you don't need the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints to be family-oriented. Did you catch that? I felt lonely and felt that if something happened, I would have been completely on my own. This is the trap I've warned all ex-Mormons, former Mormons, and critics of the church. Do not leave solely because you're offended with the lies that the church has told you, because they indoctrinate you. Holly believed and enjoyed the social nature of church. And here she's setting it up again. I felt lonely, and I knew that if something happened, I would have been completely on my own. This is the trap. This is why people who leave their church, doesn't have to be the Mormon church, when disaster strikes in their life, then they turn to God. If you've read the Book of Mormon, God is slow to hearken to you. You didn't treat church like you were supposed to. And now in a time of crisis, in a time of loneliness, in a time where you believe that you were kicked out of the church for something you did, like drinking Mountain Dew, reading a porn article on Newsweek, if you then believe that all you have to do is stop doing those things, and you go, oh, I'm so much better now that I'm not doing those things, then you go, I guess the church is true, and you go back to the indoctrination of the lies. You got punked, and you're now paying the tithing money. I see it in ExMormon after ExMormon after ExMormon video channel. I can identify what can happen for them to go back to the Mormon church. Even the leader of the gang was interviewed on 3 Questions on Fox 13 News Utah, saying, I'd consider going back if certain conditions were met, but I don't think they'd take me back. Dumbass. And he too, by the way, uses psychological manipulation. And I'm sure you know who I'm talking about because he's a psycho. Literally, psychology is anti-science. They purposely use fallacy arguments, and especially emotional manipulation like the church does, to lead people along and indoctrinate them. And thus I get the same reaction. NCIS even covered that the other day as well. People who are abused don't want to be saved because they've been indoctrinated. And because of the shame and the guilt of being punked, being abused. She goes on to say, I had a strong urge then that going back to the Mormon church was what I needed to do. No, it was for social relations. She just could have gone to her local community. And yeah, in Northern California, or Oregon, or Washington, that's more difficult. Especially 10 years ago, or more so 10 years ago. She's 40 now. And so especially when I was a kid, you know, the closest Mormon to me was Wayne Mills. And yeah, it was Wayne Mills. Until the excommunicated member with his Mormon daughter started coming to our ward. One other Mormon got to her first. Now, but I had an in. I'm surprised I didn't take advantage of this. My dad was assigned as his home teacher. And so I could have done splits with my dad to go see her. Wasn't thinking as a kid. I'm too ashamed because of the indoctrination of the church that women were a fear for me. And so yeah, I could tell you my story too. She says, I told my husband and said that while the kids were young, I felt, oh crap. Every husband's nightmare needed to do. I felt we needed to get them comfortable with attending. Oh, crap. Yes, dear. She's taking away his agency. She doesn't talk about that. He goes along with it. I know the backstory from personal experience. He was fine with that. Sure he was. He had the faith, but not necessarily the desire to attempt to be baptized. Oh, women. Oh, women. You do not understand. Again, NCIS, perfect illustration with Caitlin, and then with Ziva, and then with the frog's daughter. And more to come, because Ziva comes back into the picture after he blows it with the frog's daughter. But yeah, you can see women using Lucifer's plan of happiness on men because they are not properly taught sex ed, both men and women. And so he knows he ain't gonna get none unless he goes along with it. And for women to do this is very abusive. But he is now trapped as the ball and chain. I then called missionaries over and started attending church again. And that's when I was baptized. But you're still married to the previous guy? Who you had the first kid with when you were 19? Which, 18, she's legal. Life as a Mormon. I don't drink alcohol, coffee, or caffeine. See? Caffeine is not in the word of wisdom. But she was lied to and indoctrinated. My parents, not for religious reasons, were extremely healthy. See, you don't have to be a Mormon to eat healthily and abstain from harmful substances. Again, she's not getting the difference. Family and word of wisdom is not exclusive to Mormonism. But the church does that. Oh, we have the word of wisdom. Oh, a Mormon fell down and then ran the fastest race in world history. A girl in a wheelchair is the winner. And the family, the church has been pushing family. They used to do campaign ads all over the world. family, 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 together forever. You know, pretty soon the women at the office start looking better and better, and your wife and your family starts looking worse and worse, and before you know it, boom, you've lost everything. And now you have a new job working with only men. Did you not watch that video? It's awesome. I heard it for the first time on my mission. Had to buy a cassette player from my second missionary companion, but because they didn't have that on the list of things to bring. But as I was listening to it there in Massapequa Park, I'm going, what? It was awesome. And then there's the one of the girl who goes into the bishop for her bishop's interview to get married, and the bishop says, "Is there anything else you want to tell me?" Yeah. What do you mean I can't get married? Nelson allows you to get married now, by the way, in case you didn't know. Who's taking advantage of that? Mormons? Are you taking advantage of that? Or are you still confessing to your bishop? Let's see. So I've never even sipped soda. I didn't like it. That part of being Mormonism I follow very closely. It came natural to me. In the Mormon church, you're taught that you need care for your body, and that if you're physically healthy, you're mentally healthy. No. No. You can be in a coma, and thus mentally unhealthy, but still physically healthy, depending on how long you're in the coma for, because your body will eventually tank. That's important to me. It's supposed to be spiritually healthy. See, she's not catching on to the religious side of Mormonism. The missionaries did not do their job right. This is a problem of little kids going around the world. Oh, I get to tour the world. Where did you go on your mission? Kansas. Oh, yeah, okay. Well, bye. You can't be a part of our family now. I was worried about that. Keith Fenstermacher got his mission call to Australia. Wayne Mills went to Spain. And I think it was Spain. There were a lot of women going to Spain in the MTC when I was there. And it's only because I noticed those women specifically. But, yeah, that's a worry. Our Mormon peers pressure us to go to some exotic place around the world, or you're shunned and laughed at. And so, yeah, at Rick's College, same situation, you know, laughing at guys who are hypothetical scenarios of going stateside, and how shameful. So, yeah, I went stateside, but it was New York, New York. That's an exception to the rule, because we also had Bermuda, but only for selected people, like couple missionaries, and for missionaries who are older when they go out on their mission. They get to go. I don't know why. That was just the rule. But anyway. But I call myself a big picture person. then we need to have a talk. Your pictures need a bigger picture, dear. At least the ones that are available online that are not porn that I'm allowed to see without having to pay. Maybe that's why you put those online, or those are online. But yeah, whoever's your photographer needs help. I don't hang on to every detail. A lot of my friends in the church do follow every detail of the teachings. For example, I haven't heard my church friends swear. Yes, you have. They say heck, darn, fetch, skriddly-dee. They use substitute words. It's the same thing. But again, Mormons, like Christians, have been lied to with indoctrination. So it's okay to say hell and damn. They're biblical. But even Mormons won't say hell, even though it's in the scriptures. It's in the Book of Mormon. Joseph Smith. Mormons won't say it. I don't cuss like a sailor. Really? That's kind of stereotypical. And see, it is. But I think adult humor is funny, and watch R-rated movies. Ooh. Benson said no. See? Mormons are now going, aha! She wasn't serious about the church. She's not hanging on to every detail. She's watching porn. And so Mormons then justify their evil with beam and moat. And my friends in the church do not. Yeah, we're posting this video later on today. Got things to do this morning. But that doesn't make me a bad person. See, now she's justifying the indoctrination that it's supposed to be evil. Trying to say, well, I'm not a bad person because I do this that you call sinful. No. She's using the wrong measurement to judge. She hasn't pulled the beam out of her own eye yet. The Mormons have a huger beam, but she likewise is not pulling out the beam from her eye to see clearly of the big picture that she claims she's seeing. Or mean that I'm not going to heaven. See, she doesn't understand the Mormon concept of the afterlife. In the Mormon afterlife, when you're dead, you go to the spirit world, which is the other dimension that you don't need a wormhole for. It's right here on Earth. and so there's heaven and hell, only because you can tell the difference. You are a spirit body of light, or you're a spirit body of darkness. One or the other. If you are a spirit body of light, you then wait for your judgment, because you're going to be either celestial or terrestrial. Telestial are the dark bodies. And if you don't understand, just watch Ghost. It's not exclusive to Mormonism. And Demi Moore and the Roadhouse guy. And with Whoopi, Whoopee! And so there's the three kingdoms of glory. She is not comprehending that. See, Mormons, no, they're not either. Because they're teaching her, as she's interpreting it incorrectly, as Mormons are also, that our life is where we choose to live a certain lifestyle. And it's not about the afterlife, but about how we live our lives. And the church under Brigham Young changed celestial law to polygamy. And so that's causing more confusion among Mormons. But it's not just being a good person with a checklist of you can't do this, you can do this, and if you do these, they're in the gray area, and they're really not bad, but they're really not good. No. That's where people's interpretations screw them up. Just like Chad and Lori. She goes on to say, I also don't wear blessed garments or blessed garments, precious garments, except on occasion. See, she's revealing she's not into the church, only for social club. Because you're supposed to wear them night and day, or the devil's gonna get you. You gotta cover up, or Lucifer will get you. Quick, hide. See, yeah. But you do see that she recognizes the faults in Mormonism. That her recognition of the faults in Mormonism did not outweigh her need to fill that loneliness gap. And so she's only staying in the church because she's getting that loneliness taken care of with social club. And so she's not concerned with the minor technical details that other Mormons are involved in. And so she goes on to garment-splain. The purpose of the garments is to be a constant reminder of the covenants we made. Yeah, to be a shield and a protection to you against the power of the destroyer until you have finished your work on the earth. Represents the garment given to Adam and Eve when they were found naked in the garden, which is called the garment of the holy priesthood, inasmuch as you do not defile it, but are true and faithful to your covenants. It will be a shield and a protection to you against the power of the destroyer until you have finished your work on the earth. How well did I do? Do I still have it memorized? Which is an associated memory memorization, but regardless. But I will be honest. Yeah, they write up and admit that I find them uncomfortable, and they bunch under my clothes. There are Mormons who demand that panties and bras be worn over the garments, that the garments be close to your body. This is anal retentive Mormonism. No. You just have to wear the garment. So technically, you can wear normal clothes and then put the magic underwear over those. Technically. The church does say the undergarment, I think. If they don't, hey. But for women, especially, no. Wear the panty with the pad during the certain time of the month up close to your body. Don't, please. It's already tough enough for you, isn't it? You don't need religion making it more traumatic for you. And I know you don't watch R-rated movies, but Carrie, that's a sad opening scene. Let's see. The best comparison I can give is that a wedding ring symbolizes the promises that are made when people marry. A man might not wear a wedding ring. Oh dear. But probably still loves his wife. Oh, did you have a rough day at work, dear? Oh, yeah, it was tough. Oh, you're not wearing your wedding ring. Oh, yeah, it was getting in my way of my work, so I took it off. It's in my pocket. Oh, I love you. Yeah, I know you do. And just doesn't see the need for the symbol. That symbol, like wearing blessed undergarments, is a minor detail in the... They did skip it out. Because there's information missing. Weird. There's an error in Newsweek. If you want to be a missionary in the Mormon Church, you serve a 2-year mission as a man or 18 months as a woman. But I haven't done that. We do have callings, which I have been part of, which means she was paying tithing. She's not talking about that, is she? Excuse me. All members of the church do volunteer work, and it's unpaid. See, she catches on to not getting paid for her work, but doesn't catch on that she has to pay to work. We rely on every member to work together to get jobs done. Yeah, it's called fascism, dear. You know, the social club thing you wanted, they tricked you. If there is a need as an adult woman, there is a relief society. You would go. We're going to do this as a 2-parter. We'll get to becoming a sex worker later in life and do that video later on today. You would go to the president and say that you have a need, such as a need for childcare. And we have primary teachers and who teach the children. Yeah. Most people have a role. I currently have a calling. I guess this, I'm not sure how it was last year, 2022, wasn't it? Interesting. So I guess by coming out, her bishop then gave her a choice to choose, and that's why she became popular. It's because the bishop made her choose char porn. Okay, porn. I'm sure we'll get to it, I guess, in the article, but let's see. I currently have a calling as a visiting teacher. Which, no dear, it's the ministry program. unless women in the Relief Society have not done away with visiting teaching, which is interesting. Nelson only did away because this was 2022. Nelson, in the role we are assigned a family to minister to. Ah, I see. It's ministry, but she's still calling it the old visiting teaching. Got it. To see if they need anything and share the spiritual message with them. Yeah, I got bad examples of that with... I have the same beliefs as the church when it comes to polygamy. Are you sure? Because Nelson changed it in 2019. He's bringing it back. I believe marriage is between God and two people. God the polygamist. Not more than two. But he has multiple twos. He marries by two. Oh, sweetie. Anyone practicing polygamy today is probably a member of their own version. See how she's now... The lies of indoctrination have weaponized her to be a false accuser. A weapon of their own version. She's projecting. She's got her own version of Mormonism, of the Mormon Church, and not actually an active member of the LDS. See what she's revealing here? This is fascinating for me. Looking back, it feels like reopening the church, rejoining the church. When I did was kind of a religious experience. No. It was nothing about religion. You told us it was for social clinging. And you have now altered the meaning of wanting to belong as a religious experience. Just like the church does with the spiritual witness. You have the spiritual witness, that's from God, you now know everything. You don't need science anymore. Because several years after I began attending again, I did go through a crisis. Dun dun dun. And my husband did get ill. I know where this is leading. He developed an autoimmune disease and was diagnosed with cirrhosis of the liver, the kidneys, and then had a 3-year battle in and out of the hospital until he passed. She's a widow. It was difficult. It was very traumatic and extremely tough on my children. Not on you? Oh, good, he's dead. All he would say is, yes, dear. And it was very difficult to maintain a job and a household. See, she's an only child, so she doesn't have family support. Oh, it says here, the church was more supportive than I could have imagined. They showed up at the hospital in shifts to support me. And they sent a meal every night, so no one had to make dinner. Yeah, it was actually the Relief Society, not the church. But the bishop was made aware of it. They did this for 3 years and even set up counseling services for us. Through their family services department. Oh, the rage is just boiling up inside me. They have a traumatic, life-altering event of the passing of their father and husband, and the church puts cycles on them. I was also asked if I needed financial assistance. Wow. So, surprise. I thought the bishop was going to turn her down. She declined. But it was there. They went above and beyond. Yeah, dear God. Normally I see a bishop refuse to take care of a widow. But again, that's not Utah, is it? After Steve passed in 2017, I crawled into a hole and hid for a while. Yeah, so much for family services. They just made it worse. And the church put together every detail of the funeral and made the service beautiful. Yeah, but they couldn't talk about her husband. Right, Nelson in Holland? Oh, you got to talk about your wife and her life? Not supposed to. You're supposed to talk about the doctrine only. Oops. I noticed the church pulled down the video. They had the video. You can still see on the front news thing, before you click on it, the little video arrow that's there. But the video's gone. You can no longer click to watch it anymore. They've pulled it. Was it because of me? An elect lady? Now Holland is required to marry again and have babies? Alright. Yeah, it was amazing to take that off my plate emotionally and financially. It's free. It's always free at the church, dear. See, the church just purposely leaves out certain details. Because she was stressed, and so when the church all of a sudden comes in and does what they normally do everywhere, she's shocked and surprised. Oh, wow, the church is awesome after all. No. It's always free. You just can't do it during certain scheduled times. So, yeah, they purposely arranged the calendar to fit you in for the funeral. So, yeah, this is part 1. God. All by myself. Yeah, this is perfect. So we'll have to change the title of the video, but we'll work on that later.